Hi, I'm Nancy Shanto, and I'm going to read to you today from Access to Power, a radical approach for changing your life. This is a section called Inequality and the Power of Love, and it's the end of the oppression chapter. I suppose if I believe in anything large in the way of concepts, it's got to be love. In 1967, Martin Luther King Jr. said, "Power at its best is love implementing the demands of justice. Justice at its best is power correcting everything that stands against love." One of the most tragic disappointments of social inequality is the way it blocks loving connection across social divides and exacerbates the alienating effects of oppression and mystification. Social inequality creates a loop of disconnection. Isolation between groups of people leads to a lack of information about each other. Mystification leads to resignation and hopelessness that impedes any action we might take to correct the very inequality and oppression we are experiencing. Equality, on the other hand, promotes more community and connection and supports love. Most of us know the pain of wanting to include people in our lives when financial, cultural, or material differences get in the way. If one of my friends has very little money and I want to have dinner at a restaurant with her, this inequality creates immediate confusion and tension. If I pay for dinner, though it is an obvious answer, I might actually exacerbate the inequality and create more separation rather than inclusion. The same problem exists with all kinds of social activities. It takes privilege to maintain a car, bicycle, computer, phone, and home, and such material objects are crucial for mutual social connection. Working with social inequality inside our loving relationships is confusing and arduous work. There are no easy answers or quick fixes. In order to willingly share power and privilege, our mutual commitment to love and caring within specific and significant relationships is a most powerful motivating factor. Connection to something larger, combined with an invitation into each other's lives, is what helps lead us to do the work. When we try to connect human to human within a cultural context riddled with structural power imbalances, it is imperative that we balance our power differences. But it's hard work and at times frustrating. If there's not a serious interest in loving relationships, the extra work of cooperation may not seem worth it. Whether we are looking at differences between personal levels of power or policy levels of power, we may find the motivation to work for more social justice when we ask ourselves, what's in it for me? For the sake of what? In other words, what is the risk-reward energy expenditure? The effort to love and connect across inequality can seem hopeless as we face confusing tensions and underlying conflict. Therefore, we can feel much more comfort and safety being in groups of people who share similar amounts of structural and cultural power. If we wish to engage in social justice in our personal relationships, though, it is important to hang in there with social inequality and do what we can to help solve the problem both politically and personally. Although the direct sharing of resources by those who have more with those who have less does not shift underlying systemic inequality, we can become active in our communities to expose injustice and learn from those who are oppressed. If we find ourselves in a privileged position and want to face the oppression of others, first we must be willing to feel the pain. Once we accept the pain, we may allow the power of love to help us open up, lower our defenses, and really listen. Respect for ourselves and others, compassion for all beings, and a desire to learn and love lead us out of the insidious trap of alienation, grow our connections with others, and ultimately provide us with the potential for greater happiness. Power exists in many forms, and we access it individually, uniquely, culturally, and collectively. May we find ways to increase our power and learn how to see when we are wielding power or experiencing external oppression. When we find ourselves feeling helpless and powerless, may we know we are not alone. There is tremendous power and joy in allowing ourselves to love what we love and move toward what we love with knowledge and community support. So I just wanted to read this last section because this is where we begin to start pointing at the solutions that we can find for oppression, the differences between privilege and oppression, how we can make those differences transparent, and what would make us do that work. I hope that helps.